welcoming on stage also Robbert Heekelaar again from Prologis and Bart de Zitter from Delin Capital Asset Management. Welcome, Bart.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How is your day been today?
So far, so good.
Cycling?
No, all good things happening. It's a challenging time with lots of good opportunities.
Yeah, it is. Well, first question is to you, Bart, because you're new in this stage. What is your view on the market right now?
Well, we obviously COVID is driving the market in the short term, and I think what will have been discussed many times. But e-commerce was already a growing platform, but even more than that. E-commerce now is completely booming and is really dramatically changing the platform with new customers entering the market. And next to the very regular e-commerce activities, also just the home shopping and the home deliveries growing rapidly. So lots and lots of activities there, and that is going to be a continuum.
Yeah, is this going to change, Robbert? Are we going back to normal, or is this the new normal?
Yeah, there are several trends happening at this moment. So because of COVID, we see like you and me ordering more online. So that's a good thing. But we also see like I don't know, your parents start to order things online. So there is a whole new group actually start to step into that e-commerce side. So let's say the 55 plus or the 50 pluses. So normally these people went to the shops and they just like, the interaction, et cetera. But now they suddenly have moved into this. Yeah, if I want to have my goods, I need to order it. So I think these people have learned it now, and they will stay to do that. Probably they will go into shops a little bit, but they will also order things online. And another thing that I just shortly mentioned in my keynote is what our leader from Prologis says is the just in case thing. Normally, people in warehouses, all the real estate, all the people that actually deliver the goods to you and me, or produce the goods, they order it from China as late as possible, so that it will be shipped here, that it won't be stored that long, and then you can actually ship it out to the end customer. Now they have figured out that probably that's not always the good thing to do, because suddenly when the lines drop and suddenly China is locked for 2 months, you cannot do anything anymore and you cannot sell your products. So they're actually now storing more things in Europe, and they're starting to produce more things in Europe in order to deliver it on time.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think that's clear. The supply chain have been over-optimized on low stock keeping volumes, and we've all seen the dangers out of that. And that's now becoming very visible, and companies are changing, and that's very, very apparent.
Robert, do you see a change in demand right now too, in terms of logistics in, let's say, England? Around Kent, as an example, in terms of as the uncertainty of Brexit and borders comes out, in terms of increased demand.
England and Netherlands, who are both very much relying on this import, we have huge demand for temporary storage, just to cope with the COVID situation. But next to that, I think ecology is something that will grow in the importance for many companies, and it is just not very sustainable having all of your goods produced on the other side of the world and then shipping them here, and selling them to clients and hoping to do so without any stock in the intermediate process. We have over-optimized, and we now come to learn the consequences.
So what do you think will be changing? Are we going to produce our goods also here in Europe more than?
Yeah, we see the trends already happening. So think of, for example, automotive. They're actually moving things into Europe already. So markets like Germany or CE, so Eastern Europe, they will definitely profit from that.
Yeah. No, it's local production. It's local production, which is more sustainable, but also the whole second-hand market. I think 1 year ago we would not have imagined that Zalando was announcing to be shipping second-hand goods from their website, and still they are promoting it. And you can see this happening. I mean, young people are proud of wearing second-hand clothes. So the market is changing into a more sustainable way, and this is an unstoppable process. It's going to take some time still, but it is happening, and fast, actually. Yeah.
So it is happening. So it is changing in a more sustainable way, but it is also, like Robbert said, more into technology. Into those smart buildings are being created of those boxes where we share our stuff. So how about technology? How do you see that, Neal? How is that? You're at Yardi. You're already 40 years working on technology within real estate. You must have seen some shifts in those 40 years that the technology is being adapted more or less, and now, of course, it's probably being adapted more. How do you look back into the past and what we can learn from that?
I mean, I think one of the biggest changes that continues to happen is people adopting cloud-based platforms that allow sharing of data more effectively and greater transparency. I think if there was one thing that had to be looked at, was that's probably driven things. And I think the second thing just would be is the aspect of mobility that can be in someone's hand through a smartphone and access to data when they're in a certain place. You combine that with things that, again, Robbert, what you were talking about from a Prologis point of view is building in just this concept of 7,000 sensors in a warehouse. At some point in time in the past, someone was probably like, well, why do I need all that, right? But there's an amazing amount of intelligence that you can pick up on that. A side story is I was at a shop the other day, and we was looking at some sporting goods and bought a bunch of different things for my daughter. You throw it all into the basket, and all of a sudden it calculates immediately that I spent 48 euro on 13 different things. And my wife said, wait, how did it do that? Right. And so there's this tremendous amount of technology in everyday lives. And I think real estate, and then in terms of what everyone is doing on the operation side, is just fascinating to us.
Yeah, how do you see that, Robbert?
No, I totally agree with that. And what we're now trying to do is enrich the data as much as possible. So have the things, what you already have in-house, and enrich it with external data sources and with information from these warehouses. Combine these and provide it back as valuable information for your customers in order to just help them to operate better, faster, and make sure that, when you throw it into the bucket, you have, the right things numbered out and priced out.
It's interesting if I say, so e-commerce has certainly picked up, or COVID has certainly had an impact. And at the same time, it's devastated some industries and some sectors that industrial would normally be focused on. So if you think about restaurants and food and beverage, you think about hospitality. And so any type of client that would normally be centric around using space for those type of businesses, when really it has to alter one's path and look at the financial impact of many of those customers either going out of business or just not needing services for a period of time. Mm-hmm. And so there's these disruptions benefit certain sectors, but then also impact other sectors. And it's really that visibility in terms of understanding what's client base and what's the mixture and how to hedge against it.
Yeah. So Bart, how is technology helping you to run your business?
No, I think from the one side, we use our technology to try to make smarter warehouses for our clients, but we see our clients making very smart use of technology. One of our clients was delivering. You mentioned nobody goes to the restaurants and the bars. Now one of our clients was really dependent on exactly supplying bars in the Netherlands. And actually, in a matter of a few weeks, converted to, if people don't go to the restaurant or the bar, I will supply to the people themselves. Put up a web shop, and start delivering to the individuals. And so, as such, no contribution from our side. The contribution being that it has an impact on his operation, and I think what it has learned to us is being very close to your customers, understanding their needs in this very changing environment, and then okay, you need a bit more space. Okay, here is additional space, and okay, we know it's just going to be for 6 months, but don't worry, we'll figure it out later on. So, I think technology is I think our clients face a much bigger challenge in terms of technology. From our side, it's a very changing environment, and helping them with very flexible space and flexible solutions is what we can contribute to this whole operation.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, Bart, what we see exactly the same. You know, our customers are more sophisticated and more automated every day. So what we see is that we as a landlord, we should try to facilitate them. You know, how can they actually put this technology in the warehouse without spending a lot of money on the wiring and on the back-end infrastructure, taking things out, putting new things in. So that's why we have decided now to put in some warehouses this back-end infrastructure, so that when they are, you know, moving from Wi-Fi to private LTE, they can just plug it in, and they can start to work right away, instead of, you know, 2 weeks shutting down operations, change the whole back-end infrastructure.
Have you both seen lease durations change? So the economics of a lease, as an example. So as the type of customer shifts in size, and to how do they then also address uncertainty in the market? Because traditionally many industrial leases have been longer term, right? 5, 10 plus years. And I would imagine the weighted lease expiry is more dynamic these days.
Well, it's a plus. I think we still see from our side the long-term investments that hasn't changed. People who have a strategy in their supply chain are going to implement it, and they still are not afraid to go for 5 or 10 years to a warehouse. But next to that, obviously, we have seen a very large growth of just demands for 6 to 1 year, which on the one side is not that ideal. But on the other side, yeah, if you manage a large portfolio, you're always sitting on some structural vacancy left and right. So from our side, it's a very attractive way to, on the one side, help your clients, whilst on the other, manage your structural vacancy. And so, yeah, so far we've been able to make this a win-win.
Yeah. No, I totally second that. We still have a lot of long-term contracts. We sign them like every day still. So a lot of these big customers are not afraid to sign long-term contracts at all.
No.
It's all about locations in the end. So that is still the most important thing.
So how is it about the locations? Because I guess it's just crazy right now. Everybody is looking for the same location probably. Do we have still enough space left in logistics?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's about the land bank that we have. Of course, we have bought land during the years. So in that sense, every real estate company that builds makes sure that they have land to build on. So to answer your question, yes, we do have it, but it will become scarcer and more expensive during the years, definitely.
Has already. Land has become much more expensive just over the last 2 years. But I think what we will see is that e-commerce is growing, and this is not just a small growth, this is a very important growth. So it is taking up a lot of space, and because they are very much relying on transport and on labor, they are taking up all of the nice spots, making those spots actually too expensive and unattractive for, let's say, the more core logistics. So we do see core logistics moving out and be a bit more creative and go to secondary locations, which maybe 2 years ago were not even considered, but today are very much an option.
Yeah, but Bart, because we go into a more e-commerce, I wonder that the last mile delivery will also be getting more and more even important. How do you see that? How can we make that happen on a sustainable way also?
Well, last mile delivery is going to be a big challenge. All these volumes have to go into the cities, and okay, we can optimize with some consolidated pickup points and drop points, but at the end of the day, it is a lot of volume going into the urban areas on a order by order principle, and that will need to be supplied. And it's very simple. That infrastructure is non-existent today, and we see many of our clients going to obsolete old industrial facilities at the border of the city. Now, these facilities it's good as a temporary solution, but it is for sure not a structural solution to delivery. Yeah.
What about all those offices that are in the center of all those cities? Those offices are going to lose square meters probably because people are not going to work in the office anymore. Can we transform those offices into hubs for logistics?
It's yes, of course we can, but there are a lot of structural things to change. There are a lot of rules and regulations around that. There are a lot of people that don't want to have a logistics center next to their home. So there are a lot of issues to tackle before you actually get the permits to start doing that.
Yeah, it's an interesting question though, right? So it's on certainly what we see across all of our clients, or with COVID, there's a permanence from a change in term that I think will happen, or we think will happen, that we're already seeing, is that large corporate occupiers will reduce the amount of space that they have, but they'll pick up space in different formats, including flexible space, as a larger portion of people work from home. Mm-hmm. So the owner of the asset will most likely still have the same amount of occupancy, but just at different cost points, right? So a big bank, as an example, might take 80% of the space or 60% of what they'd normally take, maybe a shorter duration lease. And then there'll be greater flexibility in terms of flexible space, whether it's operated by a third party or the landlord, to be able to do that. There's lots of talk about retail in terms of your large traditional retail platforms as also then acting as semi-pickup points for your Amazons or anyone else who has an online pickup, online type of a delivery service and a return service. But again, that doesn't necessarily address the heavier lifting industrial aspect of warehousing and getting stock in and out of different buildings and access rights and roads and other things like that.
Yeah, I think in general we will be seeing a very hybrid structure where you will still have the very traditional parcel hub at the border of the city, for which there's a big demand now. It's a model that works even for urban distribution, but equally you will see shoes standing into the shop that actually will be picked up by the delivery guy who will then bring it to the client. So very hybrid structure, ranging from the shop within the high street going to urban infrastructure just at the city border.
Maybe everyone should take the same approach that Amsterdam is, and over a period of time is doing away with automobiles. Or if I look at the number of deliveries that come to me, and I live fairly central, on buck feet equivalents, right? That's pretty neat. But again, it's Amsterdam is maybe a unique situation too.
Yeah, but urban is, everybody thinks of Amsterdam and Rotterdam when we speak about urban, but when we talk to our clients, their biggest headache is Groningen, because today people are just taking the van from Amsterdam, driving with their van to Groningen, and then do the delivery route.
Right.
And they would all like to have a solution. And if we talk to them, what would be your priority? Is not Amsterdam, okay, also Amsterdam, but Groningen and the likes of them are the ones that are concerning them. And I think from a purely ecological point of view, Groningen might be a bigger nightmare than Amsterdam. Amsterdam, if you look at it today, all of the big players have their hubs at the border of the city, and they're actually delivering quite efficiently within the city. Coolblue, Ahold, just driving into the city with electrified vehicles today, not something in the future, but happening today. So that's already happening, but the mainland outside of the Randstad is going to be a big region for improvement.
Yeah.
Cool. So Robbert, to round this off, maybe you're also working on Prologis Labs and Prologis Data Lab. You have also what is being the next new thing for logistics, what you're working on right now?
No, it's the next big thing will be for us in the smart building concept anyway. And a lot of our customers currently are working in the warehouses just on a simple Wi-Fi structure. And I think that is going to change. I'm not sure whether 5G will be the best in warehouses. I think the warehouses will go into more the private LT structures. Since 5G, doesn't go through windows, so you have to put something in the warehouse anyway. So I believe our customers with the increased automation will actually go away from Wi-Fi into different into other systems, and that will be the biggest shift for now. And we're investigating currently how we can help them the best way.
Cool. So Neal, what is for you the next big thing that you expect to happen in logistics?
In logistics, again, our key focus is continuing to build out platforms that allow our clients to manage the diversity of different customers that they'll have, and being able to react to planning purposes and forecasts in a much more effective basis, so that their financial planning in terms of deciding when to invest into a new property, what rates they need to charge in terms of tenants and their customers, is a more fluid, connected process, and making it easier, more transparent for them internally to manage.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, Bart, the last question is for you. What is for you the future of logistics? Your last words on that.
Well, I think it's twofold. I think warehouses are still way too conventional. There's many ways of improvement, and many upcoming challenges. So looking forward to that. And in parallel, urban distribution is going to be a challenge, and we want to be part of that. So we're working very hard to create a flexible platform there.
Cool. Well, thank you, all three of you, Bart, Robbert, and Neal, for being here on this panel about the future of logistics. I hope you enjoy Real Estate Futureproof for the next couple of hours, and see you soon.
Great. Thanks so much for having us. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.